Hello everyone. For today's math lesson, you need to tear out page 539 and 541. Today's math lesson is lesson 9.6. We're going to model equivalent fractions. You will need a piece of paper, some crayons, and a marker, as well as your pencil. So if you want to pause now to get the tools that you need, go ahead and then come back. Okay. Essential question. How can you use models to find equivalent fractions? Well, we're going to use this paper to find out. So, as I said, materials, sheet of paper, crayons, or colored pencil. Alright. Two or more fractions that name the same amount are called equivalent fractions. You can use a sheet of paper to model fractions equivalent to 1/2. Alright. First, we are going to fold a sheet of paper into 2 equal parts. Open the paper and count the parts. We're going to fold it in half. We're going to open it. How many equal parts do we have? 1, 2. There are 2 equal parts, which means there are 2 parts to the whole, so our denominator is 2. So each part is half of the paper. This is half, this is half. Next, we are going to shade one of the halves, as it says right here, shade one of the halves, write 1/2 on each of the halves. So we wrote the 1/2 on each of the halves, and now we're going to take our crayon and we're going to shade half of the paper. Okay. Next, we are going to fold the paper in half 2 times and then open the paper. So we fold it in half once and then we fold it in half 2 times. Open the paper. Now there are how many equal parts? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there are 4 equal parts. Each part is, well, what's our denominator? It is now 4 because there are 4 equal parts. So each part is 1/4 of the paper. Write 1/4 on each of the fourths. 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4. This is our unit fraction, is 1/4. 1 out of 4 and 1 out of 4. There we go. We have our 4 equal parts. Look at the shaded parts. 1/2. So the shaded part of 1/2 is how many fourths? We have 1/4, 2/4. So 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. Last, we're going to fold the paper in half 3 times. 1, 2, 3. We're going to open the paper. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts, which means 8 is our amount of unit fractions in this whole, so our denominator is 8, so each part is 1/8 of the paper. Now we're going to write 1/8 on each equal piece All right. Find the fractions. I will zoom back in for just a minute so you can all see. Find the fractions equivalent to half on your paper. So we have 1/2 that's shaded. It's how many fourths? 1 2/4. And how many eighths on our shaded portion? 1 2 3 4 eighths. So we now know that 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4 and is also equivalent to 4 eighths. They are all equal to each other. They all make up the same amount. Okay, we're going to turn over to page 540. Explain how many 1/8 parts are equivalent to 1/4 part on your paper. Well, on 1/4, there are 2/8 parts. So, there are 2 1/8 parts and 1/4 part. So, so 1/8 is equal to 2/4. That was wrong. I have that backwards. I don't know what. 2/8, I did have it right, is equal to 1/4 because there are 2/8 pieces and a 1/4 space. So they are equivalent to each other. So 2/8 is equal to 1/4. Math idea. 2 or more numbers that have the same value or name the same amount are equivalent. So if they have the same value and name the same amount, they are equivalent. What do you notice about the numerators changed for the shaded part as you folded the paper? Well, when you fold the paper and it makes more parts, the amount of parts that are shaded gets larger. So the numerator got larger. What does this tell you about the change in the number of parts? Well, the number of parts goes up, so it increases. So 2/4 is equivalent to 4/8, so the number of parts increases. How did the denominators change for the shaded parts as you folded? Well, the denominators, when you folded your fourths again into eighths, it doubled. What does this tell you about the change in the size of parts? Well, the size of parts got smaller. Because when you have, for example, the 1/4, and then you fold it to make eighths, the unit fraction amount, the size, got smaller. Make connections. You can use a number line to find equivalent fractions. Find a fraction equivalent to 2/3. We're going to use this fraction strip. Okay, so here we have 0/3. We go up to 3/3 to make our hole on the bottom. On the top, we're going from 0/6, and then we'll have to go to 6/6. We are going to draw a point, for step 1, draw a point on the number line to represent the distance 2/3. Well, there's 2/3. Use fraction strips to divide the number line into sixths. Well, we have 1/6. This is 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and 6/6. Okay. Okay, so we use the fraction strips to divide the number line into sixths. At the end of each strip, draw a mark on the number line and label the marks to show sixths. So that's what we just did. So, step 3, we're going to identify the fraction that names the same point as 2/3. Well, we marked 2/3, then we look up at our sixths, and we know that it's 4/6. So, 2/3 is equal to 4/6. Math talk, mathematical practices. Use reasoning. Explain how the number of sixths in a distance on the number line is related to the number of thirds in the same distance. Well, if we look here, for each of our thirds, there are 2/6. This third, there are 2/6. This third, there are 2/6. So the number of sixths is double the number of thirds. You can pause if you need to finish writing. Then we're going to go on to page 541. Okay, page 541. Share and show. Shade the model, then divide the pieces to find the equivalent fraction. Well, our fraction is 1/4. We have four units, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we're going to color 1/4. Then they want to know the equivalent to 8, so now we have to have 8 units. Cut it like this. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, how many are shaded in those 8s? 1, 2. So 1/4 is equal to 2/8. Number 2, 2/3. We have 3 units, 1, 2, 3 in our whole, 3 parts to our whole. We're going to shade 2 of them. 1, 2. Then we need to split it into 6. So we need 6 parts. So we're going to cut it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all together. How many are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/6. So 2/3 is equal to 4/6. Use the number line to find the equivalent fraction. Number 3. Well, if we have 0 halves, 1/2, 2 halves, then we're splitting it into sixths at the top, so we have 0/6 all the way to 6/6. They want to know what's equivalent to 1/2. Well, our 1/2 is here. Right above is 3/6. So 1/2 is equivalent to 3/6. Number 4, we're using fourths on the bottom and eighths on the top. They would like to know what is equivalent to 3/4. 3/4 is equivalent to 6/8. 6/8. Number 5, problem solving applications. Number 5, explain why 2 halves is equal to 1. Write another fraction that is equal to 1. Draw to justify your answer. Well, if we have 2 halves, so they're saying 2 are colored in, and there are 2 total. We're going to color them both in. So, well, what's another fraction that's equal to 1? Well, here's 1. How about if we have fourths, 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to our whole, We color them in. 1, 2, 3, 4/4. So 2 out of 2 halves is equal to 1 because the numerator names both parts in the whole. So our example was 4/4. So this was 2 out of 2, this was 1 whole, and this was 4 out of 4. Number 6. For numbers 6a through 6d, select true or false to tell whether the fractions are equivalent. 6a. Are 6/6 and 3/3 equivalent? 6/6, 3/3. Yes, they are. Are 4/6 and 1/3 equivalent? 4/6, is that equivalent to 1/3? Nope, it's equivalent to 2/3, so that is false. 6c. 2/3 and 3/6. 2/3, is that equivalent to 3/6? No, it's equivalent to 4/6. 6d. 1/3 and 2/6. Well, let's find 1/3. Is that equivalent to 2/6? Yes, it is. Oop. Yes, it is. Incorrect. All right. 6d was true. All right, moving on to page 542. All right, connect to reading. Summarize. You can summarize the information in a problem by underlining it or writing the information needed to answer a question. Read the problem. Underline the important information. Number 7, think smarter. Mrs. Akers bought 3 sandwiches that were the same size. Okay, so we have 3 sandwiches that are the same size. She cut the first one into thirds. She cut the second one into fourths. And the third one into sixths. Marion ate 2 pieces of the first sandwich. Jason ate 2 pieces of the second sandwich. So Jason ate 2 pieces of the second sandwich. Marcos ate 3 pieces of the third sandwich. Which children ate the same amount of sandwich? Explain. Okay, so the first sandwich we know was cut into thirds. Marion ate how many pieces? 2 pieces of the sandwich. Shade the part Marion ate. Well, if we cut it into thirds, and she ate 2, she ate 2 out of 3 pieces. So Marion ate 2/3 of the first sandwich. The second sandwich was cut into fourths. Jason ate 2 pieces of the sandwich. Shade the part Jason ate. Well, fourths, we're cutting this into fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he ate 2 pieces. The third sandwich, oh, sorry. So he ate how many? 1, 2. 2 is a shaded amount out of what's our denominator? The total amount of parts in the whole? 1, 2, 3, 4. So Jason ate 2/4 of the second sandwich. The third sandwich was cut into, the third one was cut into sixths. Marcos ate how many pieces? 3. He ate 3 pieces of the sandwich. Shade the part Marcos ate. Six equal parts, and he ate 3. 1, 2, 3. So he ate how many? 1, 2, 3. Out of how many altogether? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Marco ate 3/6 of the third sandwich. Are all the fractions equivalent? Are these two equivalent? No, there's left less of Marion's, right? So they are not equivalent. Which fractions are equivalent? Are Jason and Marcos equivalent? It looks like they both ate half of their sandwich. So, yes. So we know that 2/4 and 3/6 are equivalent. So we know that Jason and Marcos ate the same amount of sandwich.